Hello, for ign, I'm Luke Kamali, and joining me here today is Driveclub game director Paul Rustchynsky. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
So we are going to be chatting about, well, obviously Driveclub, but when we first saw Driveclub at the PlayStation Announce event, I think there was a lot of excitement about it. Everyone was really excited, and then we saw the E3 trailer last year, and I think it's fair to say that elicited some mixed reactions, right? Some people came away still excited, some people less so. But since then, there's been quite a big delay. It'll be a year delay by the time the game comes out. And what's changed? What are 5 reasons that, we should really be excited about Driveclub still? And, 5 of the biggest changes we should look out for when it launches in October.
Well, the big thing that we've been talking about recently, and the key reason behind the delay, was the dynamic menu. And I explained to you before about how this is kind of the way that people interact with one another, and how we need to make that seamless, slick, and intuitive. Because if it's in your way, if it becomes a barrier to kind of accessibility and kind of connecting with other people, then it's a problem. And we need to make sure that was the absolute highest quality. Because when you're creating an ambitious sort of social network, I mean, like Facebook wasn't built in a day. And, and I'm not saying we are the next Facebook or anything along those lines, but we're trying to infuse some of the elements that you see on these social networks and make sure it's kind of seamless either when you're on your PlayStation 4 or on your mobile app. And we had to get that right. So that's the big thing that has changed. Obviously, users won't have seen that last year. They haven't really seen the menus. When they do get to see them, I think they'll understand, why we've had to delay.
Cool. And what other things can we look forward to?
Visual improvements is one of the big things. We spent a lot of extra time. Obviously, the cars is one of the most detailed you've ever seen already. The tracks, we've been populating, adding more density inside of them. But we've also been working on our rendering as well to make sure that we're adding new techniques. I don't know if I want to go into too much detail, but we've got things like SSR now, which is kind of the reflections, essentially. And we've kind of upped just how accurate those reflections are. And things like radiosity, where you get colour bounce off lights. And all these little touches, which might not sound like much, but when you kind of add them all together, it's it takes the game on leaps and bounds in terms of just the visual quality.
Cool. And what about additional content? Has the delay given you a chance to put more stuff in the game?
It has, actually, yeah. It's one of those things where you just, when you have a delay, you kind of look, well, all the content was actually finished for day one. We had all the cars inside the game that we wanted. We had all the tracks built. But then we looked at, well, how long have we got between now and release? And we thought, well, we can add some more tracks in, add some more variety. I don't have specific numbers, but we're talking like a handful of tracks and a handful of cars, all of which have been added to the game because of the delay. We didn't want to kind of siphon those off and go, oh, we'll charge people later for DLC. We just added everything that we've been building over the past few months into the core game, so it means that you got more on day one.
Cool. And what about anything else? Are there any other big changes that we should be looking out for?
We spent actually a lot more time in the handling. We actually got some fantastic feedback from E3 and Gamescom when the public actually got their hands on the game. But we've gone back and we've added a lot more kind of, well, it's more intuitive now, I guess is the best way to describe it. One of the things that most average gamers, when they pick up and play a racing game, is trying to understand, how countersteer works in cars. Yeah. At what point do you need to apply that kind of opposite lock to the cars? At what point do you need to, get on the throttle? And we've done a lot in that area in particular to make sure that the average gamer can kind of be, I wouldn't say sloppy with the controls, but we're a little bit more forgiving now. Yeah. That's not to say we've kind of dumbed it down in any way, shape or form. We've absolutely made sure for the advanced user, they still get that full kind of detailed handling model. But for the average user, we've wanted to make sure it's a bit more pick up and play. And I think when people get their hands on it next, whether at E3 or Gamescom, I think they'll really see the difference with the handling model. Even if you watch videos, you'll be able to see the subtle changes, the changes we've made to the tyre model, the suspension. They all add up to make a big difference.
Cool. And what's the last one? What's the 5th change that you might have done?
Audio. Yeah, we've actually been able to add a few more layers onto our audio now as well. I think we were extremely proud of what we had when we were going to launch last year, but we've been able to kind of, I wouldn't say go back to the drawing board or anything like that. But we've been able to kind of relook at it and look at the areas where I think, well, maybe we were lacking here and there. Because what we want to make sure we do is capture that character of the cars. Most people don't actually get to sit in these supercars in real life. And that's a massive shame. So when you sit in a car inside Driveclub, we want to make sure you're having the same audio experience. And we actually make sure that whether you're inside the car or outside the car, we've got 2 separate audio recordings for both, because we've taken the cars down to the tracks, onto the dynos, and we've done all this detail. And we want to make sure we kind of give the perfect audio kind of soundscape where you're inside them, because they're thrilling.
Awesome. So that sounds great. So definitely worth the wait then.
Oh, absolutely. I think when people pick up and play, they'll see the difference.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thanks very much. And for everything Drive Club in the run-up to its launch in October and beyond, stay with IGM.